6 days. That's all that separated Prince Rogers Nelson from two encounters with death. The first time on April 15, 2016, as his private jet made a terrifying emergency landing in Moline, Illinois. Narcan, an emergency drug used to reverse overdoses, brought him back from the brink. The second time there would be no Narcan, no emergency landing, no second chance. When the world woke up on the morning of April 21st to learn that Prince had been found unresponsive in an elevator at his Paisley Park estate and had died, the shock was universal. But what almost nobody knew was that this tragedy had already played out once before, just 6 days earlier, at 45,000 feet. The question was clear but impossible to understand: why didn't he ask for help? In those 6 days between crisis and catastrophe, Prince threw a party, told everyone he was fine, and continued the charade that would ultimately cost him everything. This is the story of what really happened when music's most controlled artist lost all control. If you enjoy these kinds of stories and don't want to miss more, please subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications, because what I'm about to tell you will change everything you thought you knew about Prince. April 15, 2016. 2 p.m. Prince's private jet was flying from Atlanta to Minneapolis. On board were Prince, his close friend and musician Judith Hill, and several crew members. The Atlanta concert had been canceled, supposedly due to the flu. But it wasn't the flu. Prince suffered from chronic hip pain and had been using painkillers for years to manage it. That day on the plane, he had white pills in his bag. Pills he thought were Vicodin. During the flight, Judith Hill watched as Prince suddenly stopped mid-sentence. His eyes rolled back. His body went limp. Prince was unconscious, not breathing. Panic, screaming. The pilots were notified. Emergency landing requested at the nearest airport, Quad City International Airport, Moline, Illinois. Descending from 45,000 feet in 17 minutes, a nearly impossible maneuver for pilots, but they had to do it. A man was dying on that plane. The plane hit the tarmac. The door opened. Paramedics rushed in. They found Prince on the floor. No pulse, no breathing. Signs of fentanyl overdose. Narcan was immediately administered. Narcan, a drug that reverses opioid overdoses. Within minutes it took effect. Prince's eyes opened. He started breathing. A miracle. He'd come back from death. Prince was rushed to the hospital but stayed only 3 hours. Doctors wanted tests. Prince refused and left. Why? Because if his addiction was exposed, the control-obsessed genius would lose everything he'd built. But the real secret was whether Prince actually knew what was in those pills. That night he returned to Paisley Park and told no one the truth. He told his team he had the flu. He called his friends, said, "I'm fine." But he wasn't fine. He danced with death and only survived because of Narcan. And 6 days later, that dance would end. But first, you need to understand something that started on a night in 1987, because Prince's death began that night, 29 years earlier, April 16, 2016. Prince woke up in his private bedroom at Paisley Park. His body ached, his hips, his ankles, his knees. The price of decades of stage performances, dancing in high heels, acrobatic moves. He'd had hip surgery in 2010. But it hadn't been enough. As a Jehovah's Witness, he'd refused the second surgery that required blood transfusion. And so the painkillers began. First prescription, then non-prescription, then counterfeit. That day, Prince called his assistant Kirk Johnson, asked him to find a doctor. But not just any doctor, an addiction specialist. Because Prince had finally admitted it, he needed help. Kirk found Dr. Howard Kornfeld from California. Kornfeld was a renowned addiction specialist, but he couldn't come himself, so he sent his son Andrew Kornfeld. Andrew was a medical consultant specializing in addiction, and he would come to Paisley Park, evaluate Prince, and prepare a treatment plan. The appointment was set for the morning of April 21st. Andrew would fly from California on the evening of April 20th and arrive in Minneapolis the morning of April 21st. Prince agreed. He would finally get help. But was it too late? That day, Prince spent time in the studio, recording, sitting at the piano. But he did something. The security cameras recorded it. He left a small cassette recorder on top of the piano. What was on it? The family kept it secret until 2019, and when it leaked, the world was shocked. April 17th, April 18th, 3 days passed. Prince seemed normal but wasn't. His body was rapidly losing weight, the pain increasing, and the pills were running out. This is where the story takes a dark turn, because the FBI investigated for 6 months and never found out where those pills came from. But in the leaked audio recordings from 2019, there was a clue, a woman's voice, a woman talking to Prince, and that woman knew something. But her identity was never revealed. April 20th, 2016, evening. At a small party at Paisley Park, Sheila E noticed something in Prince's eyes. She hugged him, and was shocked. Prince's body was skeletal, just 112 pounds, dangerously thin for a man who was 5'8". But what was truly frightening was the look in Prince's eyes. Years later, Sheila would say in an interview, "When I looked into Prince's eyes that night, I realized he was saying goodbye, but I didn't understand it at the time. I just felt it. There was something, an ending, but I didn't know what." The guests left before midnight. Prince stood at the door, his last words, "Wait and pray, just a few more days." Years later, Sheila would cry remembering those words, because she'd understand what Prince meant. Help was coming. Dr. Kornfeld was coming the next day. Prince would get addiction treatment. He just had to hold on one more day. The guests left. Prince was alone, at Paisley Park, in the 65,000 square foot studio complex, under purple lights. Alone, and afraid, because the pain had returned. Unbearable pain. And in his bag were pills. The last pills. White pills. April 21st, 2016, 3:47 a.m. Prince entered Studio 3, white shirt, black pants, hair perfect, but his face was tired, so tired. He sat at the white grand piano, put his hands on the keys, but didn't play, just sat. 12 minutes, motionless, security camera recording. What was he thinking? Who was he thinking about? What did Prince do in those 12 minutes? The 2019 leaked recording showed something. Prince was talking to himself. But the cameras had no audio. Only lip-reading experts could analyze it. And they made out one name, Emma. Prince was saying Emma. But who was Emma? The answer to that question is the most important part of the story. But not yet. Then he suddenly stood up, grabbed his bag, took out the white pills. How many were left? 2, the last 2 pills. He took them in his hand, looked at them. Did he hesitate? We don't know. But then he put them in his mouth. No water, swallowed them dry. And that was the moment. That damned moment. Those pills weren't Vicodin. They were counterfeit. They contained fentanyl, a synthetic opioid 50 times more powerful than heroin. 2 milligrams is enough to kill a person. How much was in the pills Prince took? The autopsy would reveal it. But for now, Prince just waited for the pain to pass. He didn't know. He didn't know those pills would kill him. Prince walked into the hallway. The first few steps were normal. Then he stumbled, grabbed the wall, started having trouble breathing, sweating. His hands were shaking. The fentanyl was taking effect, but it hadn't reached lethal levels yet. There was still time. He could still save himself. He could go to the emergency medical supply room for Narcan, or he could call someone. He pulled out his phone. First call, Andrew Kornfeld, Dr. Kornfeld's son. Phone ringing. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. No answer. Andrew was on a plane, coming to Minnesota, but right now he was in the air. Phone off. Prince hung up. But he did something. Left a voicemail. That voicemail leaked in 2019. And what was in it broke hearts. Andrew, please answer. Please. I need help. The pain is too much. I can't take it. Andrew, please. Prince's voice was shaking. His speech was becoming difficult. The fentanyl was reaching his brain. Second call. Kirk Johnson, Prince's assistant. His closest friend. Phone ringing. Once. Twice. 3 times. 4 times. 5 times. No answer. Kirk was home. In a deep sleep. Couldn't hear his phone. Prince left another voicemail. That message also leaked. Kirk, where are you? Why aren't you answering? I'm calling you. I need help. I'm at Paisley. Please come. Kirk, please come. Prince's voice had weakened even more. His breathing could be heard. He was struggling. Third call. Unknown number. This call was never officially explained. It's in the FBI reports, but the details are redacted. The number was from a prepaid line, untraceable, but the 2019 leaked audio recording changed everything, because this call was answered, and the person on the phone knew Prince. Woman's voice. Prince. Yes, it's me. Please. Do you have more of those pills? Woman. What? Prince. What are you saying? Prince. Pills. White pills. I need more. The pain is too much. Woman. Prince. What did you do? How many did you take? Silence. Prince didn't answer, just moaning. The woman in a panic. Prince. I'm calling 911. Prince. No. Don't call. Nobody can know. Please. Just come. Or send more pills. Woman. Prince. I can't come. And I can't give you more pills. You're a sick man. You need help. Prince was crying. Please. I don't want to be alone. Please come to me. Woman. I'm sorry, Prince. The line went dead. Who was that woman? The FBI investigated for 6 months. Couldn't find her. The number was prepaid, untraceable. But that audio recording proved something. Prince knew those pills were dangerous. When asked, how many did you take? He didn't answer, because he knew he'd taken too many. But he couldn't stop. That's what addiction is. You know, but you can't stop, and it kills you. Fourth call. Manuela Testolini, his ex-wife. The phone was answered, but Prince couldn't speak clearly. Moaning. Manuela panicking. Prince, where are you? What's happening? No answer, just moaning. Then the phone dropped. Noise. Then silence. The line went dead. What did Manuela do? She didn't call 911. Why? Because Prince had made calls like this before. Middle of the night, confused, strange conversations. And every time he was fine in the morning. Manuela went back to bed, fell asleep. When she found out the next morning, she would never forgive herself. Prince dropped his phone. It fell to the floor, screen shattered. But Prince didn't care, because he didn't care about anything anymore. His legs were shaking. His vision was blurring. Breathing was so hard. The fentanyl was shutting down his respiratory center. His brain was losing oxygen. His heart was slowing. He walked toward the elevator. His steps were slow. He was stumbling, holding onto the wall. He reached the elevator, pressed the button. The doors opened. He got in. Where was he going? First floor, private living area. To his bed, to rest. Just to rest a little. The pain would pass. It always passed. It would pass this time too. That's what he thought. The elevator moved down to the first floor. But Prince couldn't stand. His legs buckled. He leaned against the wall, slid down, fell to the floor, on his back, arms at his sides, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. He was breathing, still breathing, but each breath was harder. The elevator stopped. The doors opened, but Prince didn't get out, couldn't get out. He was on the floor, motionless, dying, but he was still conscious. The security camera was recording. Prince's lips were moving, trying to say something, but no sound was coming out, just lips moving. In 2019, lip-reading experts analyzed those moments and made out some words. God, help, Emma, Emma, that name again. Prince was saying a name as he died. Emma. But who was Emma? Why did he say that name in his final moment? The answer to that question was Prince's greatest secret, and now, finally, I'll tell you. 1987, Minneapolis Children's Hospital, midnight. A man in a purple sweatshirt entered the pediatric oncology ward. Nurses were shocked. "Who is this?" The man lowered his hood. "Prince." Nurse Sarah would tell this story years later. "I couldn't believe it. Prince was there. I asked why he was there. He just smiled. 'I want to see the fighters,' he said." And that night everything began. Prince walked into room 210. An 8-year-old girl, Emma, terminal leukemia. Her family was there, crying. Prince went to the piano. Yes, there was a piano in the hospital. He sat down, started playing Purple Rain. Emma opened her eyes, smiled, and when the song ended she took her last breath, in Prince's arms. That night Prince left the hospital crying. But the next month he came back, and the month after, and kept coming for 29 years. Every month, sometimes every week, midnight, without leaking it to the media, he'd wear a purple sweatshirt, enter through the back door, go straight to the children's ward. In the first few visits, he just spent time with the children, sang songs to them, played games. But then something changed. Prince started paying families' bills. Secretly, he talked to hospital administrators, asked which families couldn't pay, and paid those families' debts. "We never told anyone, because Prince wanted it that way. God sees. That's enough," he said. In total he donated over $500,000. Treatment costs, medical equipment, research funds, all anonymous. And one day Nurse Sarah asked him, "Why do you do this, Prince?" And Prince looked at her and said, "For Emma." "Who's Emma?" Sarah asked. Prince just smiled, and that night he told Emma's story. She was an 8-year-old girl, terminal leukemia, died in 1987, in Prince's arms. While he was singing Purple Rain, Prince said, "Emma taught me something. Life is short, and if you can do something, do it. Don't be late, because tomorrow might not come. And I come here every day for Emma, for her memory. And maybe one day one of these children will be saved, and will live. And Emma's death will have meaning. That's why I come. That's why I help." But here's the real question. Prince knew how to help others. So why didn't he ask for help for himself? The answer was simple and tragic. Because he was Prince. He had to be strong, couldn't show weakness. And that killed him. April 21st, 2016, 9:19 a.m. He had an appointment with Prince. Andrew Kornfeld was also coming. They were going to make a treatment plan. Kirk entered the building, called for Prince. No answer. Checked the bedroom. Nothing. Checked the studios. Nothing. Then he saw the elevator. Doors closed. Strange. Prince never closed the elevator. Kirk pressed the button. The doors opened. Kirk's scream echoed through the entire building. Because on the floor, lying on his back, eyes open but staring blankly, skin pale, lips purple, motionless, was Prince. Kirk grabbed his phone, called 911. "Operator. Is he breathing?" Kirk looked. Prince's chest wasn't moving. "No, he's not breathing." "Operator. Start chest compressions." But Kirk couldn't. He was frozen. In shock. At that moment Andrew Kornfeld arrived, straight from the airport to Paisley Park, ran to the elevator, saw Prince, started chest compressions. But it was too late. Prince was cold. His body had stiffened. Rigor mortis had started. He'd been dead for at least 6 hours. The ambulance arrived. Paramedics examined Prince. No pulse, no breathing, no eye reflex. At 10:17 a.m., death was officially pronounced. Prince Rogers Nelson was dead, 57 years old. Autopsy. The autopsy results were shocking. Prince's liver contained 450 micrograms per kilogram of fentanyl, 6.5 times the lethal dose. How is that possible? How can the human body take that much fentanyl? Answer: it can't. Prince had taken the lethal dose all at once, those 2 pills. But when the pills were examined, something even more terrifying emerged. The pills were professionally made. The fentanyl inside was evenly distributed. These weren't street pills. This was high-quality, professional counterfeit production. Pharmaceutical grade. So who made them? Who gave them to Prince? The FBI, DEA, and local police investigated for 6 months. Paisley Park was searched completely. Hundreds of counterfeit pills were found, all containing fentanyl. Prince thought it was Vicodin. Hundreds of people were questioned. Phone and bank records were examined. Nothing. That unknown number couldn't be traced. Prepaid line. Untraceable. The result? Nothing. Nobody could be charged. The case was closed. Official report. Accidental fentanyl overdose. Accident. Nobody's fault. Case closed. But was it really? Or was the case closed to protect certain people? Those leaked audio recordings mention names. Famous names. Powerful names. And maybe, just maybe, the truth was hidden to protect those people. But this story has one more part. Remember, on the morning of April 21st, at 3:47 a.m., Prince had sat at the piano in the studio. 12 minutes, motionless, and he'd left a small cassette recorder on top of the piano. What was on it? When investigators searched Paisley Park, they found the cassette recorder. There was a tape inside, Prince's final recording. The family listened to that recording and decided to destroy it. Why? What was on it? An unnamed family member told journalists in 2019. On that recording, Prince was crying. He was playing Purple Rain but crying, and talking to himself. He was saying, "I'm tired, so tired. Emma, I'm coming to see you." And then the recording cut off. When we listened to that recording, we understood. Prince knew. He knew death was approaching. And he was ready. We weren't ready, but he was. That recording was destroyed. Or so they said. But there are rumors. Some say the recording wasn't destroyed, that it's still in the vault at Paisley Park, among Prince's 8,000 songs. One day, maybe, that recording will be released, and the world will hear Prince's last words. But until that day, we can only guess. What did Prince feel in his final moments? Fear, peace, regret, or just exhaustion? When Nurse Sarah spoke to journalists in 2017, she was crying. Prince wasn't just a musician. He was truly a good person, but he didn't show it to anyone. Because he was Prince. He had to be strong, couldn't show weakness, and that killed him, because he forgot to ask for help for himself. Sarah said one more thing. Prince told me something on his last hospital visit. It was March 2016, a month before he died. He said to me, "Sarah, if you ever hear something about me, remember Emma." Because Emma was real, and everything I did was for her. He didn't understand what he meant then, but now I do. Prince knew he was going to die, and he was trying to leave his final message. April 21st afternoon. The news spread. Prince is dead, 57 years old, found at Paisley Park. Social media exploded. People around the world, where they were when they heard. The shock was universal. The world turned purple. The Empire State Building, Los Angeles City Hall, Allianz Arena, Niagara Falls, the Eiffel Tower. The world mourned for Prince, and his music exploded. In 1 week, album sales increased by 42,000%. Purple Rain went to #1 again. 32 years later, people understood. They understood what they'd lost. A genius, a revolutionary, an activist. The man who fought for artists' rights, who wrote "Slave" on his face in 1993, who changed his name to a symbol, and won against Warner Brothers. If artists today control their own music, it's because of Prince. If Spotify and Apple Music exist, it's because of Prince's fight and his music. He played 27 instruments, built his own studio, and left 8,000 songs in his vault. Prince died, but his music will live forever. But remember, he wasn't a god. He was human, fragile, lonely, suffering, and addicted. And he couldn't ask for help, and that killed him. In an elevator, alone, and we, the world, couldn't save him. But maybe next time we can save someone. Maybe we can make a difference for someone. Because in the end, we're all in the same elevator, trying to go up, but sometimes we go down, and we need someone to hold us. Prince didn't have that someone, but maybe you can. Maybe you can be that person for someone. Minnesota passed a law in Prince's memory, the Good Samaritan Law. If someone is overdosing, and you call 911, you won't be charged, even if drugs are found, because the goal is to save lives. And Narcan now sells without a prescription in Minnesota. Anyone can buy it, anyone can carry it, anyone can use it, because one day someone might collapse, and maybe someone will be there and save them. Not like Prince. Prince had nobody, but maybe for others, someone will be there. Today Paisley Park is a museum. Opened in October 2016, hundreds of thousands visit every year to see Prince's studios, his purple costumes, his Grammy Awards, and the elevator. That damned elevator. Doors closed. Nobody can ride it. A plaque reads April 21st, 2016. Prince Rogers Nelson, forever remembered. Visitors leave crying, having touched his legacy and walked where he lived. And somehow Prince is still there. In the hallways, in the studios, in the elevator. His spirit is still there, under purple lights. Forever. Dying in an elevator. Dying in a device meant to go up. Don't you see the irony? Prince spent his entire life trying to go up the career ladder, the top of the music industry, and he succeeded. Reached the top. But in the end, in an elevator, he died going down, to the bottom, to the floor, and never went back up. But maybe that's the message of Prince's story. Life is an elevator. Sometimes you go up, sometimes you go down, and sometimes it breaks down. You get stuck, and you need help. Someone to press the button, someone to open the doors, someone to pull you out. Prince didn't have that someone. The elevator broke down, and Prince stayed there, alone, afraid, dying. But if your elevator breaks down, I hope someone is there. I hope someone presses that button. I hope someone opens those doors. I hope someone saves you. And if one day someone's elevator breaks down, I hope you press that button. I hope you open those doors. I hope you save them. Because in the end, we're all in the same building, and we need each other. Prince is gone, but he taught us something. This isn't just his story, this is our story, because we're all in elevators, every day, going up, going down, and sometimes we get stuck, alone, afraid, just like Prince. And in that moment we have a choice. We can stay silent, like Prince did, or we can scream, we can ask for help, we can press that emergency button. Don't suffer in silence. Ask for help. And if someone asks for help, listen. Someone might be in their elevator right now, dying. You could save them with one phone call. Prince didn't have that someone. But you do. You have time. You have a voice. Use it. Because Purple Rain will play forever. Prince will be remembered forever. But more importantly, the next Prince doesn't have to die. The next Emma might be saved. If we change, if we listen, if we care, and maybe, just maybe, when the next elevator stops, someone will be there, will open the doors, and a life will be saved. For Prince, for Emma, for all of us. Purple Rain still plays. The sky is still purple, and somewhere in a hospital, a child is fighting for their life, and maybe, just maybe, someone will be there for that child, like Prince's spirit. Like Emma's memory, forever.